The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, my name is Michelle Martz Mayfield, and I am the PR and Communications Manager for TrackVia. We are here today for the Turning Ideas into Apps low-code TrackVia demo presented by Brandon Gill. But to start, I would like to just do some housekeeping just to make sure that everybody is on the same page. We would like to make sure that you are all in listen-only mode. This helps to keep noise down, and that way everyone can hear the demo. If you do have a question, please use the chat window. We will try to answer those live at the end of the demo, but if we can't, we'll try to follow up with an email. The webinar is being recorded, and we will send up a follow-up email to you within 48 hours with that recording, and that way you can share it with people in your groups. I think that takes care of all the housekeeping issues, so I will hand it off now to Brandon and enjoy the demo.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Hi, everyone. My name is Brandon Gill. I am a Senior Solutions Consultant here at TrackVia. And today in the webinar, we're going to be covering several different topics, all largely revolving around this idea of what is low-code technology. It's a technology that's been around for a little while, and we're gaining some new players in the space. A lot of different companies are starting to get involved with low-code, but there's a little confusion around what it is. So some main ideas that we're going to cover is who is TrackVia, who are we, and what do we do in this space? What is low-code at large? Who can use low-code? And then we're going to actually jump into a demonstration. That's where we'll spend most of our time talking about how we can build applications using low-code, make changes very easily to those applications, just give you a full-blown demonstration of how one might utilize a low-code technology solution. So a little bit about TrackVia. We were founded in 2006, and just for a little reference, Forrester really started to acknowledge low-code as a growing space in 2014. So we were actually one of the pioneers in this low-code space. Been doing it for a long time and are happy to have served many, many customers. We're headquartered in Denver, Colorado. We've got about 75 employees, and as I mentioned, with those many customers, we've got about 350 and growing. And on the right-hand side of the screen, you're going to see a handful of those customers that I've picked out. And I didn't pick them out for any particular reason other than to showcase that we work across many different industries, solving many different problems. And that's going to be true for really any low-code player because it's just a very flexible technology solution. So we don't have to focus in one industry. We can work in apparel with the North Face. We can work in services and oil and gas with KSI. Stearns Home Loan is in the financial service space. Honeywell is obviously in many, many different spaces. And then Las Vegas Sands is one of the largest casino and gaming organizations in the United States. So because of the flexibility of the technology, and you're going to see that as we go throughout the demo, low code can enable anyone in any industry to build applications for their organization. So what is low code? Well, the standard definition, if you were to just Google that question, what is low code, you'd get something like this. It's a software that provides a development environment used to create applications through graphical user interfaces and configuration instead of traditional hand-coded computer programming. So if we break that down a little bit, what is low code? It is a service that allows you to quickly and easily build out these business applications without needing to know how to code. This enables business users to be able to build applications around processes that they are a part of every day and really enables them to be the power users of the technology. It can also enable IT professionals to be able to spin these applications up very quickly because they already have that kind of coding mindset. So it's something that can be used by anybody, and largely it's going to be a drag and drop kind of user interface. We'll take a look at that throughout the demonstration as well. But by and large, it's a software that is putting the power in the hands of the users of the people that are trying to solve the problems. That's the real genesis of what low code is. And if we look at the spectrum of low code, as I mentioned, there are many, many different players starting to get into the low code space. I believe Amazon recently launched into low code. Salesforce is starting to get into low code. And it's an exploding space because it's a market that is really prime for this type of technology, because many people are starting to understand that they can build out their processes without needing to hinder their IT team or start from scratch to build something. As a result, you get this really wide spectrum of what low code is. On the left-hand side, we've got lightweight tools such as Excel and Microsoft Access. These are essentially low code tools. I mean, with Excel, you can build out user forms, you can build out quality control systems. Many people use Excel for many different things. The problem with those lightweight tools is that they're not very scalable and they can become very error prone over time. They don't have that structure around them the way traditional software and point solution software does. On the other end of the spectrum, on the right-hand side, you've got what's called developer toolkits, and these are still technically classified as low code with companies like OutSystems and Appian. The hard part on developer toolkits is they give you a framework for developers to be able to code within, and you can be very specific on how your applications are going to look, but they do still require a heavy amount of coding. Then in the middle is where you have companies like TrackVia and similar organizations where we kind of give you the best of both worlds. You're going to get some of that lightweight capability that's drag and drop and really enables people to be able to do this work without any coding required, with the robustness of those developer toolkits when it comes to things like scalability, building out multiple applications, and really running very complex operations in a tool like TrackVia. So who is low code for? We've touched on this a little bit. Basically, it's for everybody. So business users can really utilize low code to build out workflows and processes without needing to get IT involved. They're really the owners of the process. They know the process intimately, and they could utilize a low code tool to actually build it out without needing IT to build a custom solution or having a point solution that's maybe a 50% fit or a 60% fit, but they still have to change their process. Low code could be used to really wrap their process into 100% fit to the things they're trying to do. Similarly, IT professionals can utilize low code as a toolkit to build out these business needs. So some larger organizations really want IT to own all these systems, and low code can be a great way to spin up these applications very quickly. We've got many customers where IT runs their instance of TrackVia, and they're able to spin up these new applications in a matter of days and push them out to their business users just because it's very easy to use a low code system. We're gonna go ahead and step into the demonstration here, and what this demo will be is it's just gonna be an example use case of what you can build with the toolkit of TrackVia. We're gonna focus around a project tracking or a project management example. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have a project tracking module that we would give to a customer and say, this is how you have to do project tracking. It's just to say that this is a common use case of how people use TrackVia, and using the tools that we're gonna focus on today, you could build out a project tracking application. This is a little bit about what's going to happen when we're in the demonstration. We're going to start in the role of a project director who's going to manage the projects and schedule a new project and assign it to a project manager. The workflow is then going to go to that project manager who will receive that new project and assign out the tasks to some owners. Those team members will then be alerted and start to work those tasks on a mobile device, and then it'll eventually roll back all the way up to that director as the project starts to get finished. We won't go through this whole storyline, but we'll cover most of it. And then I do want to actually take you all into the admin side of TrackVia and show you how easy it is to do some building with a low code solution. Let's go ahead and jump over to this next tab here where we will see TrackVia. And I want to start by giving you a little orientation to the screen, get you comfortable with what we're going to be looking at, and then we'll start to go through that storyline. So in my top left-hand corner, we have our TrackVia logo. This acts as a home button that takes us to our main dashboard on any application. This, of course, can be custom branded to your organization, as can the URL that we're seeing up there. Right next to that, you'll see that I'm currently in that application, as I mentioned, that is called Project Tracking. But what I always like to do for folks is hit this drop down just so you can see all of the different applications that I have in this particular account of TrackVia. And again, these are demonstration applications that we use to showcase common use cases we hear building with the tools of TrackVia. So we've got things like invoice approval, inventory tracking, quality control, asset tracking. And you can build really any application that you want within TrackVia using the tools that we're going to focus on today. But in this case, we'll focus on project tracking. Below that, I'm logged in as an admin, so I do have access to this admin toolbar as well as all of the different dashboards that we're going to look at, but you can permiss those things down so people can't see as much information. We'll focus a little bit on this admin tool at the end when we do a little building, but just know that that's there. And we're currently on a dashboard called Project Portfolio, where we can see a series of different data elements that make up this dashboard that really give each user an experience that is fitting to their job. They can see information that's relevant to them. Maybe they're not permitted to see certain information that they shouldn't see, and they really can focus on the things that are important to them in their job. So we'll see things like some shortcut buttons, some grid views, what we call a lanes view or a Kanban board down here. And we also have full analytics that will update in real time as we go throughout the demonstration as well. So here I'm in the role of that project director. And what I'm going to do is use this shortcut button to create a new project. When I do that, I'm going to be presented with a custom form that's going to ask me a couple questions about the project, such as a project name. Let's just call this the webinar demo project. The project manager is defaulted to resource not assigned. We'll assign that project manager on that Kanban board. We've got some date fields here that allow us to select dates for a start date and a project deadline. A drop down for our project stage is defaulted to planning because we haven't released the project yet. And the important thing about these fields is you can customize them to be whatever you want them to be. If you're looking at this going, well, you know, we collect more information when we do a project, that's totally fine. I'm going to show you here in a couple of minutes how we can add more information to the project. So if you're saying, I don't like the color scheme, again, because it's low code, everything is fair game to be changed and updated by you to really be a 100% fit to your process. So let's go ahead now and take a look at the project type. You'll see we've got a little asterisk by the project type. That means it's a required field. I actually cannot save this record without filling that in. So again, when we talk about making work more efficient, that's just another way we can make things more efficient and really hone in some of the rules that we want to put on our workflow. Additionally, if I look at these project types, you'll see I've got two different project types that are customer focused. So if I were to select this new demo library app, I could just continue on with this form. However, when I select a customer type project like customer implementation, I've got some show hide rules set up that allow me to say who the customer is, and I'm going to say Hyundai in this case, and put in a project revenue. So again, making it as easy as possible for our end users to know how to work within the system just by setting up some simple form rules. Additionally, with project documentation, we've got a URL link that we could put in here, and we can also attach any PDFs or Word docs or anything like that that we'd like into this project record. Now that we've got the project all filled out, we'll hit Save Changes on that. And what's going to happen there is it's going to auto-generate some tasks for this project for me. Now, again, this is just how I've set up project management. If your organization just project management differently, or maybe you're thinking of a completely different use case, like that quality control use case that we hit on that drop-down, that's all totally fine. The way I've got it set up is that when I select customer implementation, it auto-generates tasks for a customer implementation project. And of course, we can always use this plus button to add some ad hoc tasks if we'd like. But if your organization does it differently, that's okay. That's really the beauty of low code, is that it's designed to be that 100% fit to your process. Okay, so now that we've got some tasks generated, let's jump back out to that dashboard where we're going to see that webinar demo project is now in this lane for resource not assigned. So now as the project director, I can look across and see all of my project managers and see that Brandon Gill is the least constrained. So maybe I'm just going to pick this up, drag it over, and give it to Brandon Gill. It's a great visual tool. It's also a great way to just interact with the data in a way that makes sense to the individual. Now, upon doing that, a couple of different things have happened. I'm going to go off screen here and drag over my email that I've got sitting on my other screen, where we're going to see that 0 minutes ago, as Brandon Gill, I received this email notification letting me know that I had been assigned to this webinar demo project and some information about the overall project. I also get a live button I could click into that allows me to actually go into the record we just created. So those email notifications can be really beneficial when it comes to just moving work through the workflow, whether you're doing it in between departments, in between individuals, or any other reason you might want to get those notifications. Again, you control everything in the system, so you control when those email notifications go out. Now that I know that I'm assigned to this project, what I'll do is I'll switch to a new dashboard where we're focused more on a project manager. This is this My Projects dashboard. And on this My Projects dashboard, I'm looking at it through the lens of Brandon Gill. Had I logged in as a different project manager, let's say Jenny Beer, who's another member of our solutions consultant team, I would see all the same elements on this dashboard, but I wouldn't see projects assigned to Brandon Gill. I'd see all things assigned to Jenny Beer. So again, with robust roles and permissions, you can really make sure that people are focused on information that's relevant to them. On this dashboard, I've got some more shortcut panels. I also have what's called a timeline view, and on this timeline view are all of the tasks associated with the projects I'm assigned to. So what I can do now is just start to interact with the data again and drag these tasks around and assign them out to different individuals on my team. And I'm just going to do so at random quickly here for our timing's sake. But I might assign out some of those tasks, and as I do that in real time, TrackVia is going to note that, and if we click into that webinar demo project, we can see that the task resource has been updated, as well as the scheduled start date and the task due date. We jump back out to the My Projects dashboard. We can now see that all those things have been assigned, and I can start to look at what tasks I now need to complete, and we're going to do so on a mobile device. So we'll jump down to the My Tasks dashboard. Again, this is a dashboard that is built of several different elements, and I'm only seeing information that has assigned to Brandon Gill. So I'll only see those tasks that were assigned to me. I've got a calendar view on this one, as well as some conditional formatting that's showing me if I completed a task on time. If I'm late to complete a task, you'll see I've got a task in red, so I have not completed that and I'm overdue on it, as well as some in blue that just mean they're not started yet. Now at this time, what I want to do is I want to bring over a mobile device that I've got sitting on my desk in front of me here. TrackVia does have a native mobile application. It's one of the things that separates us from other players in the low code space. And having a native mobile application really does a number of different things for us. First and foremost, it makes it very user-friendly for our customers that are doing a lot of field service work. If you're working in an oil field, you're working at a construction site, we do offer an offline capability so you can still collect this information. The other thing it allows us to do is it allows us complete control over anything that's happening in TrackVia, both on mobile and on the web. You're going to see the same buttons are available for me. If I click this My Task calendar, it's going to produce the same calendar that we have on the web. So it's very easy to pick up what you were doing on the web and take it to mobile, even if it's just for wanting to look at reporting. It is available both on iOS and Android. So if I hit that home button there, it is an app that I just click into. And the other things that we're going to see as we go through this is it allows us to take advantage of the capabilities of the device. So I can do photos, I can do geolocation, barcode scanning, you name it. If you can do it on the mobile device, you can capture it as well in TrackVia. So what I want to do here is I'm going to go ahead and select this workflow button to complete an open task. When I do that, I'm presented with the list that we see for my open task, and it's going to say, what task do I want to complete? And let's say in this case, I want to do that customer kickoff task. When I do that, I'm presented with another custom form, but this time it's rendering on mobile, already filled out for me. The task name, the project, the owner, the status. Then down here on the task dates, I can see the scheduled start date, task due date. The actual date started, I've defaulted to today because that's when I clicked on this workflow to get it started. And maybe I say I completed that task tomorrow. I completed it on time. And again, like any form, all of these fields are totally customizable. If you want more detail, less detail, if you just want it to look different, that's all fair game. As we scroll down, I've got some task notes. This could be great for like field instructions. We can attach PDFs into here as well, so to really give your people the power in the field. And then I can grab things like locations, photos, as I mentioned, from the mobile device. So if I want to say, where is this task taking place? I can just tag my location. I live in Broomfield, Colorado, so it's going to tag the location of the device to where I'm currently at. I can also grab a photo to verify that the task has been complete. So I've got my TrackVia water bottle there, so I can snap a photo of that and attach that into the record. And additionally, we don't just grab photos, we'll actually let you draw on the photos as well. This can be great for quality control use cases or shipping, receiving, logistics use cases. If something's damaged, you can call it out and it'll actually append into that photo. So that's a great little feature as well. Finally, I can sign off and verify that I'm the one that completed the task. Again, great for logistics kind of use cases, but one thing I always like to make sure people are aware of is the signature can be great for a lot of reasons, but with a system like TrackVia, you are going to get a full audit history as well. So you can always see who did what, when, and where at any time in the software. So if you're ever unsure, that's always there for you. We'll go ahead and complete that task, which will finish that workflow and take us back out to the dashboard on our mobile device. What I'll do now is I'll actually bring the mobile device back over to my other screen. And if we refresh our screen, because everything's going to update in real time in TrackVia, we'll see that that blue version, or that blue pill, was now green because we completed it on time. And I've lost it from my open task because I've essentially completed that task. Now, this is just a coincidence that this happened, but it is something that I think we can talk about. Some of you might be coming to us wondering about cloud solutions. How many times are we down? You'll see that it says here that there's a new version of this app available. Now, what does that mean when that happens? Well, with TrackVia, we pride ourselves on having a 99.999% uptime and availability, so we don't go down very often. And because of that, whenever we have new releases, which is essentially what's just happened here, I can just reload the screen and I get a new version of the app. Maybe this is small things like bug fixes or anything like that, or maybe it's a major release. Usually if it's a major release, you'll be notified beforehand if you are a TrackVia customer. But that's all it took for me to get a new version of the app. So there's no downtime, there's nothing to worry about as far as us taking it down for maintenance. You always have access to TrackVia, you always have access to your data. And that was just a happy coincidence. I didn't know that would happen during the webinar, but sometimes things work out well for us. All right, we've got about 10 minutes left here. So the final things that I want to focus on, we're going to move away from the storyline. And remember, in that storyline, we've gone from a director who is issuing out a new project and assigning it to a project manager assigning out different tasks to different individuals, and then the role of an individual where we're completing those tasks on a mobile device. So I want to step away from that workflow, and I want to show you two other things. Our analytics capabilities, which will all update in real time. We've got full analytics within TrackVia. You can see things like pivot charts here, where we're looking at revenue brought in per project manager, per event type. We've also got a line chart here showing us all of our projects initiated per quarter, pie charts, bar charts. What I always tell people is if you can track it in TrackVia, you can chart it in TrackVia, and you can get some really great real-time analytics here. Additionally, all these analytics are fully drillable, so we can click into any of these and we can see what projects have we started in Q3. There's our webinar demo project. Click into that, see all the detail that we have been collecting on this throughout the demo, and even go down into the individual task, and we can see there's that photo I took, there's the location, so we can really get granular with the detail when we look at an individual chart. The last thing I want to do in the time we have remaining is I want to jump over to actually show you how we build within TrackVia. We're just going to do some simple building, nothing complex, but I want to show you how we add a field onto a table and then subsequently onto a form so that we can collect a new piece of information. To do that, we're going to start with our tables dropdown. Now, underlying TrackVia in any application of TrackVia is just a relational database, so it's made up of a series of tables. And if I go down to one of my tables and I edit it, I'm taken to our table editor. Now on the left-hand side of our table editor, what we have are all the different field types we can use. So text and number fields are going to allow us to type into things. Choice fields like drop-downs and checkboxes are great for keeping our data clean because it gives the user an idea of what they should be selecting. We've seen some date and time fields. We've seen some specialty fields with images and links and documents. We've seen a location field. And then these calculated fields allow us to do calculations very similar to Excel or anything like that. In the middle is all of the raw data that's being collected on this table. So we might not display all of this data to all of our end users, but this is everything that's being collected. Now, if we want to add a new field onto this table, all we have to do is say, what field type do we want? And I'll use a drop down for this example. And we quite literally just pick it up, drag it over, and drop it in place. We'll give this field a name. Maybe it's our project priority field. We'll give it some choices, high, medium, and low, and we'll hit save. And that's really all it takes to add a new element into our application that we can start to collect information on. So with traditional softwares, if that field wasn't already in place, it might take some custom coding. You might have to get involved with the organization you purchased the product from or bring your IT staff involved. With TrackVia, that's really all it takes. We really want to enable the users to be able to do this. And that's really the case for low code in general. So now that we've got that field in place, what I can do is I can put it on a form. So I want to select an appropriate form. Let's use this project details form. Let's edit that. And this is our form editor. It looks very similar to the table editor. Again, on the left-hand side are the fields that I can utilize. Right-hand side is how I want this form to actually be laid out. So what I can do is I can grab this project priority and I can just drag it over here. Let's drop it in place and let's maybe drag it up here next to our project manager. I can change the colors of these things too if I'd like. You can fit it to your company colors. If you want to call things out in red or something, you can. I'll make this one purple just so you can see me make that change. We'll go ahead and hit save on that, and everything is going to happen in real time as we make these changes. So this project priority is now a field that we can start to collect information on. So if we jump back out to our dashboard and we create a new project, everything looks the same, except now our project details is in purple and that project priority is fully available for us to use. So very easy. I know it's a pretty straightforward example, but very easy for business users and IT users alike to really take advantage of TrackVia and be able to build out some pretty robust applications. We've got about 5 minutes left here, so I do want to go back to our presentation and answer a couple of questions that we've had come through. Before I get to the questions that we can answer in the time remaining, a couple of final notes. As Michelle had mentioned, an email with a recording of this webinar will be coming to you within the next 48 hours, so be on the lookout for that if you want to share that around your organization. At the end of this webinar, there will be a small survey that will pop up. I wrote the questions myself. It shouldn't take you very long, and we do really value that feedback. And if you have any questions that we might not get to in our questions session here and you want any immediate information, I've listed my email there. Feel free to jot that down and shoot me an email with any questions that you might have. All right, I'm looking at our question windows here, and we do have two main questions that I'm seeing that are popping up that I do want to address. The first question is, what cannot be done with a low-code solution? And I think that's a great question. It's a question that we get a lot here at TrackVia. We're showing you a lot of different use cases. We're talking through quality control and inventory management and asset tracking and all these different things. So what can you not do with low-code? And really the biggest area that I've seen, both for TrackVia and many other low-code solutions, this doesn't encapsulate all of them, but certainly for ones like TrackVia, when you start getting into accounting and you're trying to do like balance sheets and P&Ls and things like that, that's where a low-code system just really isn't designed for that. Accounting is really a specialized function where you really want a solid accounting system. Now, we can do things like unit cost accounting or issuing out POs, doing your accounts payable, accounts receivable. All of that's fair game in a system like TrackVia, but actually doing the individual debits and credits and things like that really is not going to be a strength for a low-code solution. We've got 3 minutes left. I think we've got time for one final question that's popped up in the window here. It's another one that we get quite a bit, and that is, how does TrackVia integrate with other systems? It's worded a couple of different ways here, but in general, that's the question, is how do we integrate with other core systems? Again, very common. A lot of times people will utilize TrackVia to integrate with their accounting system, integrate with their ERP or any other system. How we do that is, for TrackVia, we do have an open and bi-directional API. So if you have any other cloud-based systems that have APIs that we can write to, we can share information between those in real time. And then specific to TrackVia, I'm not sure of other low-code players, but specific to us, we do have an integrations platform as well. And with that platform, we have about 350 pre-built connectors to some common systems that we might integrate with, so that you can actually build those integrations, and that is also low code. It's dragging and dropping to build those integrations, so you don't actually have to do any coding. So those are the two real common ways. Of course, we can import and export Excel sheets and CSV files and things like that, but by and large, when it comes to integration, those are the two most common ways that we will integrate. That just about brings us to our time. It's 11:29. We wrap at about 11:30 here. I do want to thank everyone for taking the time to learn a little bit with us today. Hopefully you found this informative. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to email myself or anyone else at TrackVia. We'll be sure to answer that, and that survey will pop up as soon as we end the webinar. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.